It is Monday, July the 6th, 2020, at 9 o'clock. This is a special Commissioners Court meeting. I have the telephone here today for anybody that wants to call in for input, and the number there is 830-792-6161. And just so that everybody knows, I have my other cell phone here today, my personal cell phone. My wife's having a procedure done today. When they call for me to pick her up, I'm going to excuse myself, and Commissioner Letts will take over. So, with that, we're ready to begin. Is there anybody here who would like to offer any public input? And those are for subjects that are not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, then save it for the agenda time. Have you filled out your form back there?
I have not filled out a form, no, sir.
Okay, I need you to fill that out and give that to Ms. Dowdy here, our county clerk. I saw somebody else come in with you. Do they want to speak also?
No, that's my wife, no, sir.
I don't believe I'd have said it that way.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, very good.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to ask the commissioners to go ahead and take their comments. Let's go with Precinct 1 first.
We had 2 fires in Precinct 1. And one was from fireworks, one was from somebody burning unsafely. And if you got a brush pile, separate it out. Don't try to burn something that's big and make trouble for yourself and your neighbors. So, people keep stacking it up. That's not safe. So whether there's burn ban on or not, you have personal responsibility to protect yourself and your neighbors. And so the fireworks part of it's over with, but the other will be ongoing. We also had an accident where a car fell on a fellow that didn't have it jacked up the right way, and using something makeshift to get to work on a car. And that kind of stuff, again, personal responsibility. A friend of mine, so be careful.
Okay, Precinct 2.
Yeah, a couple of things. Very similar thing about a death in Precinct 2. A man and his 11-year-old son were on a tractor, and it turned over, and the 11-year-old was killed. So tractors are dangerous, especially on hillside. They're dangerous a lot of times, but dangerous on hillside. Another one is Neil Griffin, who probably everybody knows. Neil Griffin passed away. And I must tell a real quick story. Neil Griffin was talking to his son. This is, I think Neil may have told me this. And his son said, "Dad," he says, "why are we working? We don't need to make any more money." Neil's comment was, "so we can help more people." That was Neil Griffin. And he was just an amazing person. So the other thing is the petition drive is ongoing for Precinct 2, selling alcoholic beverage, put it on the ballot in November. They're out at the early voting. There are a lot of places around Precinct 2, so would encourage everybody in Precinct 2 registered voter, please sign the petition so it can be on the ballot. I think we're still, I think it's about 1,600 signatures last time I heard, so we got a ways to go still until July 17th, which is 10 days.
Okay, Precinct 3.
Just a quick comment on follow up on what Mr. Mother said about Neil Griffin is that Kerrville was really blessed at a period several times in our history of having incredibly generous individuals. Going back to the Schreiner and Peterson family early on. Then you had Neil Griffin and a couple of his contemporaries and close friends, Jim Avery, L.D. Brinkman, Floyd Callett. They were all that same mold. They made a lot of money and gave a whole lot to this community. And hopefully we'll get another round of people like that in the future because they were phenomenal people.
Don't leave out the Butt family.
And the Butt family.
Precinct 4.
All right. It's just kind of an observation, and it goes back to what Harley said on fire started from fireworks. I think doing away with the big deal on the river like we normally had, I saw a lot more off in the distance. It seemed like people did their own thing a lot more, and that probably contributes to a little bit when you do away with that big mass gathering and big fireworks show. A lot more people were at the fireworks stands, I think. So got a lot of calls since the weekend over the governor's newest order, and you know, how does that affect us? And this and that. People are trying to stay up with it, and who's on first. It's kind of the deal sometimes. So,
Clear as mud.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, back to our public input. I have a request here from, is it Rush Foltz?
Rusty Fowl?
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Rusty? If you state your name and address and
You
limit
got
your
it.
remarks to 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Hello, my name is Rusty Faust. I live at 133 Hunt Loop in Hunt, Texas. I'd like to say thank you, Your Honor, and Commissioners for allowing me to speak today. After much trouble on Friday, I was finally put in contact with Mr. Harris, thankfully so. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Mr. Harris for informing me and giving me the forum and allowing me to come out and speak today. After speaking with Mr. Harris, I did go to YouTube, watch the 4 last meetings that you guys had, just so I would be up to date on what's going on here in the court. The last one, particularly, I found concerning. Commissioner Letts, in particular, coughed in his hand twice. There's no hand sanitizer at any of your desks. None of you are wearing masks. You would think that you guys would have disinfectant. The only person here who's wearing a mask is the judge, who was touching the phone that was handed from you. County clerks, everybody just kind of, there's no distancing. So I feel like that if we can't set the example as leaders of the community, how would you expect anyone to follow that lead? Again, the main reason I'm here to speak today is I'm in my 30s, so I would be a minority in the county probably, just due to age. But I do feel that we need to take the responsibility to protect our elderly and vulnerable populations. I heard you say, Mr. Ballou, that it's their job to protect themselves in the community, but it is our job to protect our neighbors and be kind and loving and concerned about those around us. Not just say, well, it's up to you to do this. I have a 9-year-old daughter who does have autoimmune disorder, and so we do protect her as best we can. At one of the previous meetings also, you know, that age group, 30, I believe you mentioned it, Mr. Moser, 40 years old, 30, 40 years old, or the folks that are carrying this asymptomatically and passing it around the community to others. So the main reason that I'm here and called was the porta potty at the dam. The first thing I noticed is, A, we added one as a county, which is weird. I don't understand why we're not shutting down county areas where people can just drive up and there's no sanitation, there's no hand washing. That would include Shoemaker, Hunt Crossing, the Ingram Dam. There's probably many, many more in the county that I'm not even aware of. There's probably tons of areas in Precinct 1 that are campsites and other things. I just feel like that, I know I personally love my friends and my family members and our community. And, you know, my in-laws are in that age bracket, my daughter's in that age bracket, and it's up to every one of us, including yourselves, to make sure that you guys are providing proper leadership and allowing everyone here in this community to be safe. We have camps starting up. We have so many families coming in from all over the country bringing whatever they're bringing in. I'm sure that there's already been outbreaks at camps. Nobody wants to hear any of that, but I'm sure that stuff is happening. We really need to protect our community so we can share these beautiful places with other people in the future instead of focusing on this short time right now. It does suck to wear a mask. It isn't any fun to do any of these things. But if that's what we have to do, then we need to take it upon ourselves to go ahead and do the right thing for everyone. And that's all I really would like to say today.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
If
much.
we could add something about county facilities to the agenda for next time so that way you guys can discuss what we're going to do about that, that would be great.
Okay, thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go down to the consideration agenda. 1.1, always first, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the update for the facility use and other matters related to COVID-19. Dub Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Unfortunately, my laptop was not booted up today, so I can't really give you too much update as far as numbers go. I know on Friday, we were up to 119 total cases. I checked with Pearson Regional Hospital this morning. They tested 112 over the weekend, but they picked up 30 new positives. She's in the process of sorting through those right now to make sure that all of them are Kerr County. And then we had some notifications from DSHS. So at one point, my number was 127 plus whatever Peterson Regional did for the testing over the weekend. We'll find that out. Try and get all that out to you sometime this afternoon. The Texas Military Forces did testing on June the 30th. They tested 548. I have no earthly idea what those numbers are going to look like when those test results come back. We are planning to do testing again on July the 9th, again at the Doyle Community Center, and I'll send out a code red again countywide to notify folks of that. Any questions on anything, y'all?
When you give the statistics, if you do that by cases that are positive by age group, that'd be great. Again, you did that last week, and that was very helpful.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to add that.
Yeah, good deal.
To
Super.
the,
Thank you.
I will want to point out that one of the problems with tracking these numbers is DSHS. For instance, I was given an address by Peterson that indicated one individual at one residence was COVID positive. By the time I got notified by DSHS of that, they had 2 positives at that house and 6 probables. So all those probables go into our active count as well. So I can go back, I get a spreadsheet from DSHS that can remove those probables out to kind of let y'all know what are confirmed cases and what are probables as well.
Super. Good job.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, they're all basically assumed to be COVID-19 until proven otherwise.
Well, for instance, in this one residence, those 6 individuals are considered probable. They're symptomatic. They have not been tested, but they are symptomatic. And based on the close contact and the fact that they'll be in the same residence with the confirmed individuals for a long period of time, yes, sir.
Sure.
How serious is this, Doug?
I think we're going to be over 150 cases by the end of the day. And no telling what the Texas Military Forces testing is going to show us. 548 that day tested.
And when we go over 150, the governor can start closing down our capacities to open, right?
Our saving grace, I believe, is number one, we haven't had that many people in the hospital. I think our total hospital numbers have been like 5 people. Peterson Regional's surge capacity was 24% last week when I reported, so I'm assuming that they still have plenty of room. My concern is if San Antonio Hospital start to fill up and they decide to ship some up here, but that's between Sid Peterson and San Antonio.
Any advice for the people?
Wear your mask, wash your hands, social distancing. Same thing we've been talking about.
You may not have any additional guidance on it, but the governor's order is very confusing to most people. And it appears to most, myself included, that if you're social distancing, you don't need the mask in public. You're not required. I would say you need, probably not the correct word. And that's how I'm seeing most people interpret it. Do you think that's accurate, or is it? I mean, I can't imagine the governor didn't know exactly what he was saying in that order, but
I wouldn't assume anything on that.
I think it's kind of vague, and thanks. All right, so it says every person in Texas shall wear a face covering over the nose and mouth when inside a commercial entity or other building or space open to the public, or when in outdoor public space whenever it is not feasible to maintain 6 feet of social distance from another person that not in the same household, provided, however, that the face covering requirement does not apply to the following. And then there's 11 different exceptions. Any person younger than 10, any person having a medical condition or disability that prevents wearing a face covering, any person with while the person is consuming food or drink or is seated at a restaurant to eat or drink, any person while the person is exercising outdoors or engaging in physical activity outdoors and maintaining a safe distance from other people not in the same household, any person while the person is driving alone or with passengers who are part of the same household as the driver, Any person obtaining a service that requires temporary removal of the face covering for security surveillance, screening, or need for specific access to the face, such as while visiting a bank or while obtaining a personal care service involving the face, but only to the extent necessary for the temporary removal. Any person while the person is swimming in a pool, lake, or similar body of water. Any person who is voting, assisting a voter, serving as a poll watcher, or actively administering an election by wearing a face covering is strongly encouraged. Any person who is actively providing or obtaining access to religious worship wearing a face covering is strongly encouraged. Any person while the person is giving a speech for a broadcast or to an audience. Or number 11, any person in a county that meets the required or the requisite criteria is promulgated by TN. So clear as mud, just like the judge said earlier.
That number 11 is the one that's sort of convoluted. But it's followed by this statement, not accepting from this face covering requirement is any person attending a protest or demonstration involving more than 10 people.
Correct.
And who is not practicing safe social distancing of 6 feet from other people, not in the same household. So that, I think, goes back to what Commissioner Letts was talking about. If the mask works and you're 6 feet away from somebody, or if the mask works, why do you need to be 6 feet away from somebody? And if you're 6 feet away, why do you need a mask? And I know that's not your decision and you can't answer that, but logically speaking, it doesn't make any sense.
I totally understand.
6 feet away from the commissioner there. And people are criticizing us because we don't have on any masks. We're socially distanced. So, and if the mask works, I don't see why you can't have more than 10 people in the cabinet. That doesn't make any sense. So the masks either work or they don't work. Maybe all of us should have a law to wear belt and suspenders. Make sure our pants stay up. I'm picking on you.
No, that's all
You're
right.
still number one.
I'm still number one. That's all that matters, Artie. That's all that matters.
I'm just trying to make sense of it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I think the question that Commissioner Lett asked relates to the second part of the sentence. It says, wherever it's not feasible to maintain 6 feet of social distancing from another person, not in the same household. So that comes right after where it says, or when in an outdoor public space. And so the question is whether or not that only applies to the outdoor public space. And I know that some people are interpreting it that way, and I would, but y'all are interpreting it to apply to the whole rest of the sentence, where if you can stay 6 feet apart from each other, you don't have to wear it. But I would advise that it applies to the outdoor public space, and not to when you go into a building like Lowe's and can stay 6 feet away from someone, you don't have to wear a mask. So there are attorneys in different offices around the state arguing about the sentence construction, and that first very confusing sentence from an attorney who has attorneys writing this for him.
From a past Supreme Court justice.
Right. So while it is confusing, I'm telling folks in my office that wear your mask. Wear your mask in the building, wear your mask if you're in my office, wear your mask.
So what's the answer regarding Little League?
Well, I think that you also have to go back to the Executive Order 28 that speaks to all of those things. And I'm not a legal advisor for Little League, but I think that they have to look at that too. And it does, I mean, we talked recently, Commissioner Harris and I talked about rodeos. That has some exceptions too. So there are capacity issues that relate to Little League that aren't what we talk about for the courthouse or HED or, you know, other outdoor spaces where there are 10 people gathering for other things. That has different things that apply to it. So.
Well, the reason I'm asking about Little League is because Little League's playing on county property, and Little League doesn't want to be in conflict with how the county's interpretation is. And that's the reason for the question, having to do with limiting the use of the county facility.
And there, I think that is another big question about several use of county facilities for events, that we'll have to look at the governor's exceptions for those as well, I think individually, because I think like a rodeo or maybe like a sporting event might be different from other, gun and knife. I think that there will be some things we have to specifically look at and answer. And I'm glad to help with that.
The one thing the governor said, but is not included in this executive order, is that the goal is to make sure that we stay open and that people come and go where they want to go. They transact business as normal. But this thing we talked about earlier, about reaching that 150 mark, again, all these magical numbers we have, 20, 10, 6, 250, it's a little irritating because they seem to be just arbitrary. So if we hit 150 mark, then we take a couple of steps back and reload again. We reset arbitrarily, just based on a number, not based on the population of the county or anything else, not based on a percentage of cases. And these are positive cases. These are not people in the hospital. These are not people that are passing away from it.
I think they're doing
It's
the
just
best they
cases.
can do, just like people who set speed limits. I mean, at least with speed limits, we have a long time to know, and studies about what happens in a wreck when you're going 55 miles an hour as opposed to 75 miles an hour. I mean, I know it's changing, but I think people are doing the best they can do. And while 150 isn't 55 miles an hour, it may change in a week. Who knows what that number will look
Now
like.
that puts Harris County the same as Kirk County, same as Bear County, same as Kimball County.
But I don't think they ever got to ask for the exclusion from the capacity rules like we did, because I think they were already
Sure.
beyond that
Right.
low number. So that's why I think that's in there. So it helps counties like ours who don't have that many cases, and like the far west Texas counties who have none, that can still, have their coffee shops open and their convenience stores and things that those families need to run their businesses. And so hopefully we don't get there. It looks like we are going to, but at least we get to have 50% instead of nothing.
It should be percentage rather than numbers of people for
Right.
cases.
I believe that.
Right.
And that may be something
Well,
that
you don't, yeah, that's not your deal.
that they're
Governor's deal.
talking about. I don't know. Like I said, it could change. Everything changes so quickly. It could change in a week. It
Well,
could change in
according to the World Health Organization, as of today, they say even if there is a vaccine, it will only be good for one season, just like the flu shot. That's all. And they may or may not get it right the next year, and so on. So we don't do this for the swine flu's on the uptick. Swine flu, that kills a lot of people. The H1N1. We didn't have this kind of publicity on hysteria.
I think that the frustrating part is the arbitrary nature of so much of what's being said. You mentioned speed limits. Speed limits, there's a manual that engineers have put together that says, if this is the condition, this is the speed.
Right.
It's very clear.
Right.
Here, it changes week to week. And how do you react to it?
Well, I think the county attorney kind of addressed that. We're learning as we go, and it's uncharted territory. And personally, I'm not happy with the governor right now because it looks like he's playing politics. He's trying to have a foot on both sides. But and you guys are standing there, and I'm looking at you while I'm talking. I'm not pointing any of this at you. You know that.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just venting. And you happen to be the people I'm looking at while I vent. My wife gets this all the time, so I apologize. It's not personal.
No apologies necessary.
You're looking at the camera.
I'm looking at the camera. That's what I was doing. I was looking at the camera.
Doug, so we hit this magic number of 150, the restaurants go back from 75 to 50. That's one of the main things, right?
That's correct.
50%. No. Okay.
It's not, I don't believe it's automatic. I think the governor would have to order it.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, I need to excuse myself. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Commissioner Letts.
Anything else on 1.1? All right, let's go to 1.2.
Escape while you can.
I'm running.
Consider discuss take appropriate action regarding the local state of disaster due to a public health and economic emergency proclamation that was signed by Judge Kelly on March 24th, 2020, and extended until terminated by order of the Kirk County Commissioners Court on March 30th, 2020.
We don't need to take action.
No action required on here in case anyone wants to.
No action.
Okay, move on to 1.3. Consider discuss take appropriate action to approve the Texas Department of Transportation TxDOT CARES Act Airport Grant Agreement. Mary?
Mary.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mary Rohr. I'm the airport manager at Kerrville Airport. As part of the federal FAA relief to COVID environment, it was the issuance of grants to airports. And I think we all saw a note that came out about 2 or 3 months ago that Kerrville Airport can receive up to $69,000 in grants for improvements in the airport. So it took a while for all the paperwork to come through to match the announcement, to get it together. So in your packet is the actual grant agreement itself. We've reviewed it with Heather, I reviewed it with our airport attorney, and also Mike Hayes. So we're just asking, as required in the interlocal agreement, that you all agree to the grant, and we'll get moving forward on getting the paperwork done and activities taken place.
Move for approval of the grant.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Moser, second Commissioner Blue to approve the Texas Department of Transportation TxDOT CARES Act Airport Grant Agreement as presented. Any further discussion?
Well, I want to ask a question. Do we have a specific use for it right now?
We are focusing on funds to be focused on maintaining our hangars, especially for our business users. So we've got some cranky old buildings there, and we're trying to keep all of our business users moving forward.
Just so everybody knows.
Okay. Any further discussion? In favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Item 1.4, consider discuss take appropriate action regarding Texas Department of Transportation TxDOT County Transportation Infrastructure Fund CTIF Grant Award.
Who's doing this one?
The judge. Heather, have you looked at this?
I have looked at that.
The amount of the grant is $91,095.
This is the one Charlie mentioned
Yes.
last week.
Okay, this is related
There
to,
you are. I was looking for you. I couldn't see you.
what this is the grant that was,
Okay.
I believe, came from out of the oil industry, or some funding that was available to all counties. We initially thought we would not apply for the grant, but Charlie went through it. He and Kelly and Bobby went through it, and the records that we have made it relatively easy to go through and forward this grant, so we're going to go ahead and apply for it in the amount of $91,095, and that money will be used by Road and Bridge to upgrade certain roads that were impacted by oil industry traffic.
But see, we've submitted the application already, so this action is for the county must enter into an agreement with the department in close. I move for approval for entering into agreement with TxDOT for the subject grant. The Department of Transportation Infrastructure Fund Grant Program. So we have to enter into agreement, so I move that we enter into that agreement.
As part of that, to authorize county judge to sign.
And authorize county judge to sign. And the
Second.
county attorney is reviewed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Moses, second from Commissioner Harris to approve the agreement related to the Texas Department of Transportation Infrastructure Fund Grant Award, and authorize county judge to sign. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Or raise your hand. Both. It's unanimous, 4-0. Item 1.5, consider discuss take appropriate action to authorize the Capital Improvement Planning CIP Committee through the county judge to receive with authority for the issuance of tax notes for pending capital projects, including the possible purchase of 3 properties, one plus or minus 16 acres off Spur 100 adjacent to the road and bridge yard, 2, the Pearson Addition and Wool House Tract block in Ingram between State Highway 27, within the State Highway, and Caroline Street, where the old wool and mohair warehouse was, and the 3 tracks, 424, 550, and 600 Earl Garrett. I know about it. I was a little surprised that it's on the agenda. But where we are on that, those are the 3 tracks that have been identified. And it's a matter of, how much can we talk about this in open session versus closed session?
Well, negotiating for real property can be talked about in closed session. I don't know how much of it, you want to, like price, we can talk about that in closed session, but I think that the rest is open session topics.
I think what we did, that's my recollection, we authorized the judge to negotiate, okay, for these parcels. But this says to issue a tax notice,
Right.
so
The issue,
I don't think it ever came back in executive session or whatever with the discussion regarding the negotiation.
Well, I think we should pass on this and let him explain it.
Well,
We put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
I know the reason.
I know,
Yeah,
but let
but,
him do it and we just pass it.
Let
It's
me
not
explain it a
here.
little bit because there is some time sensitivity to it.
You're-
All right.
The question comes is to pay for the tracks, it takes a tax anticipation note. That's what we have discussed anyway. Is it, do you feel, it's hard to negotiate until you know that the court has approved going forward with the tax anticipation note.
Right.
Because we have to, you don't want to negotiate something and then have the court come back and say, well, we're not going to fund it. So it puts the county in an awkward situation. So the issue is the Commissioners Court comfortable with proceeding with the paperwork for a tax anticipation note at this point? Or we want to talk about it.
Well, we don't know what the amount is.
We have a general amount that has been, and I can try to give you that in executive session.
Well, this doesn't include our participation in a joint project going on.
There's no joint, it's not a joint.
I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about we have a participation in our
The grant application for the public defender's office.
public defenders.
And those 3 tracks.
The public
that are
defenders, so
there.
that's money's going out of the county that pertains to real estate, so I think that all of that has to be in the budget.
Right, you're right. It's part of that, part of this is based on that regional public defender office being approved and funded.
Right. And our participation level. So, and thank you, Heather, I couldn't think of that.
I don't think we have enough information today to authorize proceeding with the tax notice. Tax
Do we
notice.
just have to do this to move forward? And it's kind of like item number 2, is that what we're talking about? Just keep it alive?
Well, I think
What is it, let me ask it a different way. What does it mean to approve the authority for the issuance of tax notes? What does that mean specifically?
well, it'll have to come back to the court to approve it. It would be to start.
That's what the agenda item is.
Right. Yeah, but it has to, I think the actual note has to come back to the court.
Of course. Do we have to do this in order to have something prepared to look at? Is that the point?
I'll probably go back to what you said and let them pass on it because I was not aware this was going to be on the, I know the topic. I'm not sure the full reason the judge wanted it on the agenda.
Yeah, this
Other
is,
than, I know it's partially due to a comment that I made in the CIP committee, that we need to figure, the court needs to be on board before we start negotiating.
so this is
I
to
agree with that.
proceed with the authority for the issuance. I'm not ready to do that.
Is a week gonna make a difference?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Let's ask the boss. She's thinking.
I think he wanted this on the agenda today because CIP is meeting on Wednesday. And I think it's so they can talk to the sellers and give them basically, this is an amount we're talking about, whatever it is, contingent on approval of Commissioner's Court. So I guess,
Jonathan, you know more than we do. You're on the committee.
I mean, I think it's, and the judge and I have not talked about this agenda item. I think that at some point, the court needs to take over some of this over the CIP. The CIP has made a recommendation.
I agree.
And I think that the court is at a point that we need to decide dollar amounts and how to fund it. How to do it. I don't know that, I mean, the CIP has done their job in identifying properties. And that's just how I see it, but I think the judge may see it slightly differently. I don't think that I think that at this point, the decisions are up to this body, not the CIP.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're not ready to.
I think we're ready to discuss. We have appraisals on all the properties.
But that's got to be executive session.
Yeah. And we have dollar amounts and, you know, we know a lot about it. We're ready to take the next step. It's how do we take the next step? And I think that I think there needs to be authority for the county judge or somebody to start negotiations. And I'm not sure that this agenda item does that.
We gave them the authority to negotiate.
And you have dollar amounts now?
Yeah.
We gave
So
them
that's
that.
an executive.
Is this something we need to go to executive session, then come back? Or do we need to pass? I think that's two questions.
Well, first of all, we gave them the authority to negotiate. So the next thing is to see what came back from those negotiations,
But
probably in the
We
executive
gave
session.
authority to negotiate, but we didn't set a dollar amount. I don't know how you finalize a negotiation unless you know how much we're willing to
Well,
authorize.
We need to see what the dollar amounts are before we approve.
There's asking price and there's an offer.
We can always have an emergency session if we need to also.
Right.
And then I go back to what I had said before about our participation
Yeah.
in public.
72 hours.
Well, I don't think that would be an emergency, that would just be. a
Right.
but Heather, could they recess until like 1:30 or tomorrow or?
Yes.
We could do that. Why don't we hash that out for the time being and see if the judge comes back and, I think to me, I'm hung up on the wording.
Yeah.
I think we need to proceed with the negotiations and maybe under Commissioner Moser, he feels we can.
Heck, we call it.
Possibility. Well, let's move on to the
Yeah.
Okay.
item 1.6 and we can come back to 1.5. Consider discuss take appropriate action on the county clerk's office job descriptions for chief deputy clerk, administrative deputy clerk, and records management, archives, juvenile clerk. Jackie Datt.
Okay, back again. Okay. In early March, I was asked to present the court with a job description catered to the records management juvenile deputy clerk position. I emailed Commissioner Lutz, county auditor, and HR director information requested, and those same documents should be before you today. Again, I've updated all the job descriptions. Today, I'm only asking that the court adopt these updated job descriptions to understand that each of the deputy clerks serve a particular court or regulatory authority for a proportional amount of time. So as previously stated, we all have the authority to do the same things, but for efficiency's sake, we have to conduct official business by creating sections within the department as a whole. And those sections are land official public records, vital statistics, probates, mental health, county court at law, juvenile, and we have our chief deputy, who's really our bookkeeper, the administrative deputy clerk, and the county clerk. So while reflecting on the statutes, local government code 82.005 and 118.025 and 0216, I think it would be prudent of the court to see that I've included a percentage of time spent on each task. And those statutes are discussed in length and confirmed by the Texas Attorney General opinions, GA 0118, GA 0638, which I think should be included in there. So if you take a look at number 3 of the job description for the records management juvenile deputy clerk, number 3, it should look like this. Kind of a copy of it.
Jackie, let me interrupt you.
Go ahead.
The agenda item is take appropriate action regarding job descriptions. So what are you asking? Just approve job descriptions? And the next question would be, is why now?
Okay. Because, as discussed a little bit last week in the budget hearing, we're able to pull salaries out of the revenue fund number 41, 634, I think, and save upwards of, save a lot from taking it out of the general fund. And so if I can show the court that on number 3 of these job descriptions, the proportion of time spent on each task that can be applied by law and take it from that revenue fund.
So what this is, pardon me for interrupting you. So what you're saying is changing job descriptions so you can fund those positions with different accounts. Is that correct?
It's yes.
I see.
Yes.
Auditor's office nodding and the county attorney nodding. So
Yes, but we have to use caution in approving taking money from that fund right now because we have to have the public hearing on the 27th, and that's when I would ask
okay,
that the court.
but that's the purpose
That's
of the
the
change.
purpose of this,
Yeah, that was
correct.
my question. Why changing job description? Now I understand it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Does this change any of the pay grades?
It does not.
Okay, you're just,
But you had
Okay,
said
break
last
down
week.
number.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
The pay
No, go
grade
ahead.
have the
No,
pay
you
grades.
said you looked at what they were actually doing.
Yes.
And you needed to change the job description. And
Yes.
it wouldn't affect the payroll. That's what you said last week.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, this is just, it's a way, and I applaud the county clerk for doing this, is that it's a way to pay a portion of all of these employees out of a dedicated fund rather than having all the money come out of the general fund. And to do that, she went through and calculated exactly how much time is spent on every function on the job description.
Fantastic.
So we're able to divert some of the payroll costs to a dedicated fund and away from the general fund.
Good.
Fantastic.
good. I move for approval.
Well, I appreciate that, but I wanted to
When you're ahead.
say I know. What am I doing?
When you're
What am I
ahead,
doing
stop.
here?
I'm gonna second his motion.
When you make the sale, you stop talking.
I'm sorry, but do we really need all the additional records management archives position? Because really, it's the same as the general job description. for
Different
deputy.
subject.
It's just they spend more time on that same task.
Well, if
So-
you don't have it, if it's not this agenda item, you can't.
Well, you would just, no, it's on the agenda, but it's up to, I'm gonna leave it up to the court to adopt either 3 job descriptions or the 4. 3 being chief deputy clerk, administrative deputy clerk, and general job description for deputy clerk.
Is there a
What's
change?
on there?
Is there a change to the records management as well? The 4th one, records management and archives, is there?
So the records management, so that position spends 75% of their time on number 3, and number 3 is also on the general job description. And those general deputy clerks spend 50% of their time. So there is a difference. So there's more of a salary for.
But have you changed that job description also? Question. If you didn't change the records.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if you change that job description, we need to reapprove that one. If you didn't change that specific one, we only.
Actually, this records management is creating a job description, is what this juvenile records management.
Then we need to do all 4.
Okay.
Is that a court order thing, or is that just a?
I think it's a court order. We have to approve all four, and the HR department will.
Okay.
do it.
And that's
So
what.
we have a motion
motion.
from Commissioner,
So,
you made the motion?
Yeah, I second.
He tried to.
yeah, well, you say that.
True.
Commissioner Harris made the motion, and Commissioner Moser seconded to approve the four job descriptions that were revised as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye, raise your hand. Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Coming down to the approval agenda. Pay the bills.
You get one to,
Thank you.
Okay, for bills today, Kirk County, $154,873.78. Adult probation, $7,218.55. Airport, $4,183.30. And you just received an additional bill. This is a late bill, but we'll get to that in the next section.
I move for approval. Pay the bills.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Blue, second, Commissioner Harris to pay the bills as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Budget amendments,
There are none.
late bills.
Yes, we have one you just received. This is Fund 32 TDA. This is for the wastewater grant paying our construction company, Passato, $92,367.31.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Moser, second Commissioner Blue to approve the one late bill as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Auditor report?
No, sir.
None. Monthly reports?
No.
Next week.
None. Court orders? We do have the court orders from our June 29th session. They're court orders 38152 to 38159, and I did have two slight corrections. On 38155, there's a typo. It said Clay Smith. It should be Blake Smith in the name. And on 38153, on the after the last comma, the authorizing transfer of items it did say for Kerr County to Kerr County Juvenile Board. It should be from Kerr County to Juvenile Board, which is changing the for to from.
Good.
And with that, I'll make a motion to approve those court orders as modified.
second.
Motion by Commissioner Lett, second by Commissioner Harris to approve the court orders as modified. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Information agenda, status reports from department heads. Didn't see any. Status report from elected officials. Sheriff is silent. Minute 30 seconds. Do none. Status report from liaison commissioners, discussions. Any?
I thought Shane was gonna talk to us about some air conditioning bids he had, but, and I don't know enough about it to say anything, so,
I think he had a bid received for $9,000. I think it could go into next year's budget.
okay. He was just gonna let us fill us in on that, so that'll be okay.
I have yet to be able to find out if we are required to make a contribution to the historical commission. And I've inquired, and I'm looking, so I still don't know. It's not a lot of money, but I was asked to do that, and I hadn't been able to track it down. I hadn't forgotten.
Okay. That said, I think it would be helpful if we go back to 1.6, if we do go into closed session,
1.5?
excuse me, 1.5, into the closed sessions, just so I can update the dollars amount to everyone in the court so that,
Okay.
and I think that would be sufficient then to probably proceed with that agenda item. So we'll go into closed session. And we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Sounds good.
agenda item 1.5. We went into closed session so I could go over all of the values that we discussed at the last CIP meeting. So everyone on the court's aware of the values we're talking about, but now we're back into open session to discuss actually the agenda item on the tax anticipation note and what the next steps need to be.
And just so everybody knows, we have Judge Kelly on speakerphone.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Well, I guess
What does the agenda item mean?
He doesn't have
Say again, Moser?
Should we read you the agenda item?
no,
and then you
his question was what?
No, I know the agenda item. I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
And this is what, at the end of the CIP meeting, Jonathan, you'll remember, you're the one that wanted us to get authorization for the tax notes. And so that's why I put it on the agenda. And so what we're really doing here is I think we have authority. The CIP and I think the county judge has been delegated the authority to negotiate with these prospective sellers. Mm-hmm. Your concern was that how can we offer them something if we don't know where we're going to get the money?
Correct.
And so the whole purpose of this was to keep us on track, to keep the negotiations going, because we want to meet with, we've got Bruce Strachey coming over to meet with the CIP at 1 o'clock this Wednesday to actually start negotiating on the property down the street, on the Earl Garrett properties. And we're still trying to set up meetings with the other two potential sellers. So if we need to authorize the tax, that we're going to ask for a tax note to finance it, then we need to talk about it and have a vote on it. If we don't need to do that, if we've been fully authorized to negotiate subject to Commissioner's Court approval, and we come back to the court and say, this is what we've negotiated, will you approve it? And the sellers would know that it would be a conditional negotiation until we have the Commissioner's Court approval. It just need to go one way or the other.
Judge,
that's all I was trying to do.
Yeah. One of the things that we discussed, I don't think the members of the court that are here are 100% convinced on the full menu of purchases. Did I make that?
Well, and the real issue is, do they want us to negotiate a deal subject to their approval and bring it to them and they give thumbs up, thumbs down, or do we need their approval before we negotiate the deal? It's the chicken or the egg. Which comes first?
Do the latter. Come back for approval.
Well, if you have extra, in my opinion, we have an extra property on there we don't need. That's my view of it. And that would change the negotiation if I were the seller.
Sure.
The questions come up, Judge, by some members of the court is the reason or the need of the sanctuary.
The need of the what?
Sanctuary.
The church.
Oh.
And
okay.
I mentioned that the idea that the CIP had who would go into that building, but the cost seems high.
Comparatively.
Okay.
Comparatively high.
Well, and that's the difference between 550 and 600 Earl Garrett streets. That's what we're talking about.
Correct.
Okay. Then I listened to the YouTube part of this, so I heard the discussion y'all had. I listened to that as I was bringing Vicky home. I believe that, from what I heard, that the CIP and me as the county judge have the authority to negotiate and then bring it to the Commissioner's Court subject to their approval. Right. Am I on the same page with everybody on that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then what we're really talking about is there would have to be a separate negotiation for these properties. If that's something that's an issue, then we should negotiate something separately for 600 Earl Garrett versus 550 Earl Garrett. And so that when we come back, the Commissioner's Court can approve. They can approve this on 424 or not. They can approve this on 550 or not, and they can approve this on 600 or not. And that's the way we want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little convoluted in my mind because I don't know how you negotiate the purchase when 40% of it is in limbo as to whether it's going to be even considered or not by the court.
what do you propose? How do we do it?
Well, Judge, my concern was that I've not heard a need expressed for the tax office to have additional room or expand, or, and that was what the what one of the buildings was for. So I don't know that I see that there's a need. Maybe you know more about that, the complaints or the requests or whatever than I do, but I've not heard anything like that. So to negotiate that, put it in as part of the deal when it's so much more money, I don't know that the need was ever expressed. So unless I'm just ignorant of it, I don't see that we need it.
Well, the CIP, the whole purpose of this is the CIP is ready to come to Commissioner's Court and make recommendations to purchase for certain prices. To negotiate something, bring it to you, and say we're recommending this because X, Y, and Z. And that's really the committee's purpose, and that's what they're trying to fulfill their obligation. And it may be that the court approves or doesn't approve. All I'm trying to do is get us in a position where we, as a committee, can negotiate something and bring it to you, and you can decide whether or not you approve or not.
Well, what's wrong with just doing that? And you could also come back with CIP, could come back with option A, B, or C. Option A would include everything. Option B would include maybe everything except the sanctuary, and then court approve or disapprove.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Good.
Okay.
that's good.
But then that gets us to the agenda item. Are we gonna do a tax anticipation note to fund it? Because how are we gonna fund it? How are we gonna buy the property is my question. Where's that money coming from?
I know that was the question you asked 2 weeks ago, and that's why I put it on the agenda, or say a week ago, I guess.
So
why
we're
not?
down to
Almost
the
10 days
question.
ago, is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think what the court's telling us, the feedback that I'm hearing, is you go do your negotiations, you make your recommendations, and you come talk to us about it, and if we like it, we'll do it, and if we don't, we won't.
And we'll figure out how to pay for it.
Right.
Right. We don't have to, you don't have to have the tax note to negotiate.
I think that's right. I agree.
However, the tax note is the only thing mentioned here for the,
Well,
in the agenda item.
But that was to address this issue, this question that's been asked about how are we going to do it.
well, you already have the authority to negotiate.
I know.
Right, so therefore, you can negotiate and the CIP can come back and with recommendations. And we can approve and then we can decide on tax note or whatever on payment.
I'm good with that.
Okay, good.
By the way, the CIP did, I think, an excellent job locating properties.
Oh, yeah.
This
Oh.
is good stuff.
They've done very good job.
They've been outstanding.
Yes.
Very good.
I think, Judge, what we probably ought to do, and Jody's right behind me, is that I think we need to have on the next agenda an explanation again on the tax anticipation note, exactly how they work, because that seemed to be some confusion on that.
That's good.
So we put that on the next agenda to have that part, or that discussion again and what it does. We had it, I know, when Dusty came up here, but I think a refresher, and I don't know that he needs to come. I think you're familiar enough with it, and I'm familiar enough in the auditor's office that we can explain it, go to the public, explain how this works and why that's the vehicle being recommended.
The
Okay.
public needs to know.
Good deal.
Okay? Then there'll be no actions needed on this agenda item.
Correct.
I think we can negotiate subject to approval of Commissioner's Court,
Okay?
Perfect.
because the court's got the final say.
Right.
Correct.
Good.
All right.
Very, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
And with that,
Too short.
we're adjourned.